Hello guys and gals, and welcome back to another episode of Haunted Gaming. Yes, we take a look at another gaming creepypasta, not just a regular gaming creepypasta, but November 2014's creepypasta of the month, titled A Personality Test. What's it going to be about? Well, sit back and, maybe you should even take this test too, so enjoy A Personality Test. Hi, my name is Jacob, and I'm not very significant in the world that we live in. It seems to me that other people are always the main character while I'm simply an unnamed extra. For the majority of my life, I've been fine with that, but recently something has come up that made me much more important than a background character. It all started the day before I got a job interview. I recently got fired, needed a new job, and I was stressing out about it, so I decided to play a game to take my mind off of it for the time being. I was browsing around the internet looking for a free download of a game. Call me a thief, but sometimes game companies can really rob you of your money. The only reason why I download games illegally is because I live in a low-income area, and money isn't something that I can throw around without repercussions. So I'm looking for a download of Assassin's Creed 4, when I find a torrent of it. I download the torrent and go downstairs for my desk to eat. When I come back, the file had downloaded, and I opened it up. In the folder was a bunch of ISO jargon that I didn't really care for, and as expected, an exe file which I clicked on. And without thinking twice, I accepted the user account control panel when it was brought up. But instead of bringing up the game or an installer, I was surprised to find that the Windows command prompt had opened up. I tried exiting it, but it was stuck on the screen. I couldn't exit out of it either, so I read what was on it, and what I read, I wasn't expecting. Hello. You know how you never really think twice about, allowing a program access to modify your hard drive? Well, maybe after this you will. We can't blame you, really. Most programs do what they say, they do when you allow them that privilege. Most programs. I mean, this is an exception. And now I know that you are probably confused, surprised, and maybe a bit miffed that your precious file isn't doing what you want, but we need you to put aside those emotions. You're going to take our test. It will evaluate you, as a person. If you refuse to take this test, then we will plant rather discrepant information on your hard drive and notify authorities about it anonymously, so I implore you to comply with us. Yes or no? I reread the paragraph. Was it a joke? I don't want to take chances, but something about this was off. I didn't know what to think of it. I mean, what do they mean by discrepant information? How are they doing this? Why? But all these questions went unanswered. I'd have to play their game to find out. And with much reluctance, I pressed Y on my keyboard and read the new text that appeared on screen. You have recently gotten a contract from a company that promises a high-paying position. All you have to do is meet up with the CEO for an interview. You are driving down to the company building when you get a phone call. It is from your local hospital. Your wife was just in a car accident and is terribly injured. If you go to the hospital, you will lose any chance of getting that job. Y to visit your wife, or N to continue driving to the interview. I picked Y and the program responded. You wouldn't do that. Yes or no? I don't know why, but this unsettled me, so I just picked no, and the program responded again. You're a bad liar. Yes or no? At this point, I was starting to become somewhat nervous. I mean, I didn't want to admit it, but I would have chosen the money. I just didn't want whoever was behind this to know. I mean, I picked no again, hoping that the program would stop and move on to the next question. Try again. I picked yes this time. And the original question was brought up again. I picked no this time, and instead of responding, it brought me to the next question. But the way that it knew what I really would have picked before I answered made me feel helpless. I had the freedom to choose which answer for every question, but they knew that I was lying if I did. But what the hell would you have done? I mean, if that happened to you, you would have picked the money too, right? Both of your parents are drowning. Who do you save? N for your father, Y for your mother. I chose my mother. Really? It asked. I picked no. These questions kept going on and on, progressively getting darker as I went on, but the eerie thing was, it didn't think that it would, that I would choose the worst of the two options all the time. I mean, questions like, if given the chance, would you kill your worst enemy? Or, if you were able to, would you rape a beautiful woman? They relented on, but for every question they seemingly knew. As the test went on, I started to give up an answer honestly. I mean, I felt like I was seeing myself in a whole new light. Was I really this bad? Was I really this awful person on the inside? I mean, I kept repressing those thoughts, but the test kept on encouraging me to think about it. You and your friend are trapped in a cave, and it will be a while until help comes. Will you eat him to stay alive? And I was starting to get it now. I mean, I picked yes. You find a $100 bill on the ground. Do you try to look for the owner? I picked no. Just when I thought it was over, the test gave me this one final question. Are you a good person? I was starting to doubt my self-worth at this point. I mean, the test had revealed who I really was on the inside, and I didn't want to see a single bit of it. I mean, at this point, I was compelled to just shut down my computer. If the police locked me up, I don't give a fuck. Right now, all I wanted was to end this and just go to sleep. But the game wouldn't let me. This fucking test had me pinned down against the ground, and there was nothing I could do but look at it in the eyes and complete it. I mean, that's what I did. With a forceful press of my finger, I selected no, and the test congratulated me. It promptly closed. I then shut down my computer and went to sleep. The dreams I had were, how you say, less than pleasant. I tried to flush out the memories of last night, but I couldn't. And when I finally woke up, I started my car up and started driving to that job interview. And about halfway there, I got this phone call. I pulled over to the side of the road when I saw it was from the hospital. A distressed nurse was on the phone. She told me that my girlfriend was involved in a shooting and was dying. My heart should have been racing. I mean, I should have been going back and forth between what I should do. I should have been in a panic. I mean, this was my chance to prove myself, to prove that I am a good person. I should have dropped the contract and drove over to the hospital, but I didn't. I wouldn't. I already knew what I was going to do. So, I hung up that phone, and I sped off towards that job interview. Well, that was another creepypasta of the month, and is it worthy of that title? Well, you all deem so, and hell, even I do here. But one thing is for sure, is this feels too concepty for me. In fact, if you look at an older creepypasta we've done called A Great Time, you know, the question and answer concept is similar to that, but here it is much, much, much more darker to me. And that's good, but at the same time, there is too little of it. My main complaint with this is that it really needs to be, expanded and fleshed out, because it's as if we really, start this and end up going to a finish wanting more, but not in a satisfying way, but in this confusing manner. The manner and the way the game was obtained was also a tad questionable, but it, would be very unfair of me to personally just call it out on that, because we've done so many gaming creepypastas and creepypastas in general, and, it is tough to get that part through without it sounding at least a little bit cliched or tried, and even then it wasn't so bad. I mean, hell, you could get anything out of a torrent file, so in that regard, it felt somewhat realistic in the creepypasta story sense. In the end of it all, I just wish, some more questions were asked, because really we need more of an effect, and I really want, more of this reflection on the protagonist, because at times he seems to almost disappear. We need acts more fleshed out, but, looking at it now, it's a great concept, and it's a really nice creepypasta, and I like it, but I hope it had, more. And it really needs that. I mean, we can have ambiguity, and not everything needs an explanation. We can end, on a we can end on a cliffhanger note. But that being said, you have to reach a certain level before you gain the ability to do that. That being said, it is a nice creepypasta, and as always, I ask you, what would you rate it, and what would you change to make it better? This has been another episode of Haunted Gaming, and if you like what you saw, then like, comment, and subscribe. This is me, Mudahar, and I am